1, 2, 1, 2, 3, yeah. You is a lie, you is not come from these sides, you cannot come to this side, yeah. Gangsta, but my chain too tight, yeah. I see my op to the sights.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to my podcast. I am your host, 24. This is my podcast, 24's podcast. Easily, without any competition, the best video gaming and sports podcast on the entire internet. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, now you know. Pause my music. This is going to be the first podcast that I release on my YouTube channel. I have like hundreds of podcast episodes on other channels. I'll be talking about that later on in the podcast. But first, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about what I have in store for you for today's podcast. Please unpause my music. Thank you very much. Unpause Lil Uzi Vert. Turn them up, in fact.
Heard that Rolls Royce is your homies. So your whip that is the loner.
Turn them down once again. All right, so I got something that I've been waiting to talk about extensively on the podcast and on my YouTube channel, but I haven't really had the time. Maybe not the time is the best way to put it, but I've been waiting for information to come out so that way I can be intelligible, so that way I can be informed about this. I don't want to necessarily talk out of my ass, but I also wanted to talk about this, and the information didn't come out until right now, so I get to talk about what I wanted to talk about. And that is The Last of Us Part 2 leaks. I get to be very, very informed about those leaks. Also, I will also be talking about the PlayStation 5 reveal that's supposed to go down on Thursday. I'll be talking about that. Got a lot of opinions about that. I think that's it. This is going to be a short podcast, but it will be 24's podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, all that and much, 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 much more right here on 24's podcast. Sorry if you can hear my fans in the background, my AC, my ceiling fans. It's hot in here. It's hot in my room. Gotta save money on the AC, so turning off the AC, or the AC will go off shortly. It's set at like 77 degrees. I apologize if you're able to hear all that stuff. So, kind of wanted to talk about The Last of Us Part 2, the leaks. Hold on, got a burp. Excuse me. Hold on. Excuse me again. I had a big lunch. I had a bowl of pasta. I had a bottle of orange juice. I had some water. I still got some water, and I had fruit snacks. Like, I don't need to eat anything else. It's like 5 o'clock today. I don't need to eat anything else. All I got to do is do my push-ups, get on with my day, finish off the day strong. So, over the weekend, an article, I think by Eurogamer, talking with Neil Druckmann, the creative director or the game director for The Last of Us Part 2 came out. And he was interviewed by Eurogamer, and he was addressing the leaks. Now, before I talk and actually give you the quote from Neil Druckmann, let me talk about the leaks in general, and also let me talk about the leaking community within the video gaming industry. So, the long and the short of it is, the leaking community within the video gaming industry is extremely volatile, meaning that it's extremely untrustworthy. Not that the sources are untrustworthy, not that the leakers are untrustworthy. There are some very, very credible leakers that have inside contacts and developers that have insider information, with developers and publishers, and they have contacts within the industry. Very, very credible sources get things wrong all the time because the information is wrong, because, you know, sometimes certain, like I remember, and, you know, this is maybe a spoiler for GTA 5, or not GTA 5, GTA 6. So if you don't want to hear about, you know, what could potentially be going on gameplay-wise with the story, or not with the story, but with the gameplay of GTA 6, turn the podcast off right now, because I'm about to spoil some mechanics. So apparently in GTA 6, you will either, there were two people, two prominent, two very, very credible sources on GTA 6, and they were talking about, essentially, one guy was talking about how essentially you're going to play as like a mob leader, or not a mob leader, like a narcos like one of those like drug lords in South America, because Rockstar got inspired off of, you know, the drug lords in South America, or not South America, but the TV show Narcos, and they were like, well, let's make a whole game kind of based upon that TV show, right? And so here you have GTA 6. And there were two prominent leakers that pretty much said that you either get to only play, one person said you only get to play as a Narcos, so as a mob boss, and then another person said, well, you get to also play as a police officer as well as the mob boss as well. But both confirmed that it's going to be in Vice City and in like South America or something like that. Like, their information isn't that far off, and it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. But it's like, who do you trust? Do you trust the guy that's saying, well, you only get to play as the police officer and the mob boss? Or do you trust the guy who's the mob boss, who says that you only get to play as the mob boss? And that's kind of what I mean by the information. Like, you can have a credible source, or you can have credible sources when it comes to leaking, when it comes to them leaking information, but they could also get it wrong for a multitude of different reasons. Again, that type of information, leaking information, is incredibly volatile, even though there are trustworthy sources. But for the most part, like, I didn't make, not even for the most part, but I never really, like, react to leaks, because leaks are untrustworthy in a lot of different facets. Like, a couple of weeks ago, I made a video talking about the leaked Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay. And that wasn't because I was reading somebody's, you know, like the leaks for the gameplay on Reddit or 4chan or whatever. It was because I actually saw the gameplay for the game, right? I saw the gameplay for Cyberpunk 2077, so I was like, oh, okay, like, I can talk about it because I know about it. Kind of transitioning to the leaks for The Last of Us Part 2. So, apparently, and I won't be spoiling the leaks, because I'll quote Neil Druckmann in a second, but I won't be talking about the actual leaks here. I'll just kind of address why I think the leaks aren't necessarily correct. But when I like followed some of the leaks and stuff like that, and I saw like the immediate backlash that the game had, like I saw Sony had to turn off the comments and likes to dislikes because they didn't want the game to be spoiled and stuff like that, and all this other stuff. And it was just a whole bunch of bad PR that happened, that really not even happened, but has been happening for the past 2 months. And I saw that and I was like, this kind of doesn't make any sense to me. We're talking about Naughty Dog, right? We're talking about one of the best developers in the last decade. They made The Last of Us. They made Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, Uncharted 2. I mean, this developer has been top-notch for a decade. And then you look at their previous history. Let me pull up their games here. Hold on. So when I pull up their games, it's like they got the Uncharted, The Lost Legacy in 2017. The Uncharted series, they made Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter. This is a developer that has kind of just been around for almost 30 years. And they've had since apparently 1984, right? This is a developer that has been very, very high profile for almost 30 years, really, since they started to really work with Sony in the 90s with the PlayStation 1. Like, this is a fantastic developer. And when it comes to developers like this, I kind of just hesitate when it comes to throwing them under the bus, right? Like, imagine if the leaked ending for Cyberpunk 2077 had come out. Like, you wouldn't throw Cyberpunk or CD Projekt Red under the bus so quickly. It's like, it's CD Projekt Red, but I feel like because a lot of people don't know anything about Naughty Dog, they're just like, yeah, let's just throw them under the bus because we can. Because we're not going to fact check anything and we're just going to be angry all the time, right? So I waited and I waited and I waited for almost 2 months. And lo and behold, this weekend, a quote comes out by the game developer, not the game developer, by the game director / creative director. I don't know exactly what his role is, but he's had a significant role in both The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2 and Uncharted 4. So you would think that he would get a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, but nope, people wanted to hate. People wanted to be angry. Got the quote right here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is addressing the leaks. And I'll read you the entire quote. This is taken from apparently an interview by Eurogamer, either that was released last week or the week before or this weekend. A lot of outlets pulled it up or picked it up. Here it is. There's a lot of the feedback that came out. Our take on it is, you don't know. Right? There's so many false things out there. We don't want to go out there and correct anything because that would be spoiling the game in a way. By saying what it isn't, we're kind of saying what it is. It's interesting that some of the reaction is very much indicative of what the game is designed to do. And I think it's a bit into spoiler territory, but we want to elicit certain feelings from the player and then have them reflect on those feelings for the second part. So for us, it's like, okay, we got the first part. Now let's see if we can get the second part once the game is out there because again, people just don't know. There's all these theories about what the ending is, but the ending is not out there. You actually don't know how it all comes together. The title, the headline for this article, and this is the thing that had me, that freaking, I was a big mouth bass. I took the bait. They kind of clickbaited me, but it's not really clickbait. It's actually just truth. The title of the article in question was Neil Druckmann, The Last of Us 2 leaks don't depict the ending. Lots of false theories out there. Before I continue, let me take a swig of water first so I can rehydrate. That's some high-quality H2O. So, if you didn't understand what that means, what the entire quote means, excuse me, if you didn't get the entire quote, if you missed parts of it, pretty much what he's saying is, it's false. The leaks are fake news. When I heard about the leaks, I'm not... I know parts of the leaks, excuse me. But when I heard the leaks, I said to myself, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Should I say the leaks? No, I won't. I won't say the leaks. But what I will say is this. As somebody who has played almost every single Naughty Dog game, maybe not every single Naughty Dog game, but I've played a game within every single Naughty Dog series or most prominent series that they've come out with in the last 20 to 30 years, as somebody who has been a very, very big fan of this developer. And maybe that means that I'm a little bit jaded. Maybe I'm operating with rose-colored glasses. Excuse me. But when I heard about the leaks, when I saw the leaks, all I thought to myself was, that's ridiculous. That's not true. Like, there's no way that's the story. Especially, and again, if you don't know the history of Naughty Dog, the developer, Neil Druckmann, I think the creative director or the game director, this dude has been working for Naughty Dog for 10 years, maybe plus, probably more, to be honest with you. He has worked on The Last of Us. He was one of the main figureheads for that game. He was one of the main creative, like, personalities for that game. He worked on Uncharted 4, and I think he was the creative director for that video game. Right? And now he's the creative director for The Last of Us Part 2. This guy has been immaculate. His resume is fantastic. It's one of the best resumes for a developer that you can have right now. The Last of Us and Uncharted 4. And it's like, he doesn't get any credit? We're just going to throw him under the bus like that? I'm not going to say the leaks, but if you read the leaks and then if you, like, understand the story of The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't sound like something that Naughty Dog would write, something that Neil Druckmann would write. Doesn't sound like it at all. And when I saw all of the backlash, all of it, I was astounded by it. I was like, so many people were just like, boom, we're going to throw Neil Druckmann and The Last of Us Part 2 under the bus. Like, let me just type in a YouTube, The Last of Us Part 2 leaks. The Last of Us 2 ending not leaked. Boom! Thank you very much, Dom the Bomb. He reported on it. Some leaks debunked. Ending is not leaked. That's by somebody. That's like the first thing that comes up, by the way. So then you have Griffin Gaming, somebody who I actually like, saying The Last of Us 2 leaks are pathetic. The Amazing Lucas, The Last of Us 2 leaks saved me $60. Angry Joe, The Last of Us Part 2 spoilers, discussion, and copyright abuse angry rant in his thumbnail. He says the leaks are awful. Right? The Quartering, another failure for Naughty Dog. The entire Last of Us 2 game now leaked, another embarrassment for Naughty Dog. We need heavy spoilers. We need to talk about how bad The Last of Us Part 2 leaks are and the Naughty Dog controversy. Fans are disgusted by leaked plotline. Fans are refusing to buy or support The Last of Us Part 2. MBG. On and on and on that goes. Now, I haven't seen any one of these videos because I didn't want the game to be spoiled for me at the time because I was like, I don't know how truthful these leaks are, but I have a feeling that they aren't. And I'm not going to listen and I'm not going to go into detail about these leaks and about the people reacting to the leaks because I actually want to play the game. And just like what Neil Druckmann said in the quote, he said, by saying what is in the game, by saying, sorry about that, I got a little bit tongue-tied. By saying what is in the game or saying what is in the game or isn't in the game, we're kind of revealing the plot line. And we don't really want to reveal any plot points because we could potentially reveal certain things and certain elements of the game, but he's confirmed it. Leaks are fake. Ending isn't out there. Now, all these YouTubers jumped on the bandwagon as quickly as they smelled blood in the water. As quickly as they smelled a little bit of smoke. They said, fire, fire. Naughty Dog sucks. Naughty Dog, you know, I know what the ending is. I know what the leaks are, again, but I won't say them. But Naughty Dog is trash. Naughty Dog is terrible. Naughty Dog, The Last of Us 2 leaks saved me $60. The leaks are terrible. And I said to myself, did any of you look at the gameplay? Did any of you actually look at the game? I remember I was watching, like, somebody said, and this is how I figured out that what the leaks were, because somebody randomly spoiled it for me. I was watching a video. I won't say what video, but somebody just spoiled the leaks, and I was like, well, I got to go down the rabbit hole now. I got to now listen to what they got to say about it. And I was like, that's the leaks? Really? That's what has everybody up in arms? But it's like every single time I just like watch some of these videos, man. Not even videos, or watch some of the thumbnails and just see just the vitriol and just like the toxicity that people are spewing at this game is ridiculous. To me, at least. It's like, this is going to be one of the best games of the year by one of the best developers in the last 20 years. And you don't have, like, the patience to wait for the game to come out to confirm these leaks. And most importantly, again, talking about credible sources within the leaking community, because there's probably for every 1 to 2 credible source within the leaking community, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of uncredible sources. The fact that this story blew up like wildfire to me was ridiculous. I was like, you don't know. None of you know. And it turns out they still don't know. I don't know what the ending is going to be. It's just ridiculous. I got something more prepared later on when this game comes out and when I actually play the game and when I actually know what the ending is and when I actually, this whole leaked thing has been debunked for the last 2 to 3 weeks. There were reviewers, I think, that got the game early June and they were tweeting out, yeah, the leaks are fake, man. People played it on the hardest difficulty. People played, just to get through the game and beat the game and stuff like that. People played and beat the game, and they were like, no, like, the leaks are fake. I'm not expecting an apology because I'm not one of the countless developers that spent hundreds of hours on this video game. But it's like, you know, everybody complains about the gaming media getting shit wrong all the time, but it's like whenever I see shit like this, it just like, it makes me roll my eyes and be like, all of y'all motherfuckers are hypocrites. Everybody is a fucking hypocrite. It's like you didn't have the patience to wait to pull the trigger on this shit for one of the best developers in the last 20 fucking years. People are like, nope, not gonna wait, just gonna pull the trigger, try to be like Eminem and have a fucking kill shot on Naughty Dog. When it was more like, what was that dude, Nick Cannon, when he was like, I killed Eminem. And Eminem didn't even need to respond to Nick Cannon because his response was so trash. Like, oh my God, dude. This is ridiculous. Like, the game comes out next Friday. By Monday or Tuesday, every single one, I guarantee it, every single one of these people that are talking shit about The Last of Us Part 2 and the leaks are going to look like giant fucking morons. It's ridiculous. It's like, how do you get this shit wrong so fast? And you can tell, by the way, that every single person that was talking about this has no idea what, like, I'm not necessarily the most informed person. I'm not. I try to be. I read a bunch of articles on the daily about video games and sports and stuff like that, so that way I can come on the podcast, I can go to my YouTube channel, I can make a video where I am informed. I look at leaks, I read about leaks all the time, but I don't necessarily indulge in leaks. I don't necessarily go on Reddit and just like go to gameplay leaks and stuff like that. I don't actively seek out leaks, is what I'm trying to say. But I do know enough to know that the leaking community gets things wrong all the time, and they can still be credible. But it seems like everybody just was like, we're just gonna just freaking hair trigger it, hair switch it. And it's like, if you know about the leaks, if you know what the leaks are, it just sounds like some rage bait type of stuff. Like, it sounds like the leaks, if you know what the leaks are, it sounds like it's intentionally supposed to get you pissed off. And it worked. It sounds like somebody who is trolling, made the leaks. That's kind of like, I think I said like at the beginning of the podcast when I read the leaks, I was like, that's not right. Let me switch that up and say that it sounds like it's just a bunch of rage baiting. It sounds like somebody who's trolling. At least that's what it sounds like to me. Especially if you are aware of Naughty Dog and the great things that they've done. It's just so weird to see how fucking quickly people turned on Naughty Dog. And they didn't even fucking play the game. Most of these, and this is the thing that irks me. Most of these motherfuckers didn't even watch the gameplay for it. I'm a gameplay-oriented person. I'm the type of dude that likes to watch gameplay before I make a statement or make a comment about a game or whatever. Because that's the reason why I purchased the game, to play the gameplay. And I was like, oh, the gameplay, it looks like The Last of Us. It looks great. It looks phenomenal. It looks like a more experienced, more mature developer made this game. Like, I remember in a video that I made, I think last Friday, I was talking about how I felt that Doom Eternal had taught me a lot about the industry and about, and about developers and stuff like that. Hugo Martin, the creative director for Doom Eternal, was like, when we made Doom 2016, we were going in inexperienced, and that kind of reflected in our decision making and stuff like that. In Doom Eternal, we knew what we were doing. And it kind of feels like that with The Last of Us Part 2. It's like, oh yeah, Naughty Dog knows exactly what they're doing. They've been around, like, all of their games. I think you could, like, The Last of Us Part 2 won Game of the Year. You can make a strong argument, that Uncharted 4, technically it's Uncharted Thief's End, I think that's what it's called. That game could have won Game of the Year. Like, to me, it's ridiculous that like, again, just people just fucking threw this developer under the fucking bus. And it's like nobody was like, let's check the leaks. Let's check the leaks. Let's just make sure that what we're saying is legitimate, that it's true. Nobody does, and I'm literally just scrolling at this point. Literally just scrolling, and it's just like, boom, like, every single person just is talking shit. Everybody does. Not even everybody's talking shit, but it's like, I mean, I see one person, and they just keep on just spamming the rage bait, and now they're just playing into it. Like, I see the same person making videos about it, and it's like, dude, you 1000% did not check the leaks. Let's see if he... Hold on, let me mute you. Like, I'm very, very curious to see if this dude put up any response for this game. Hold on. No, he didn't. At all. He didn't put up anything correcting himself. He didn't put... Oh, well, I mean, he fucking makes a video like every freaking 25 minutes. So he definitely can't source any of this information. Jesus Christ, man. It's just so obnoxious to me that people just, like, complain about so much shit. Complain about, well... the industry sucks, or this sucks, and, you know, and the media sucks, or whatever, and then they do the exact same shit. Like, the media gets stuff wrong, the gaming, and then they fucking jump to conclusions, and they judge fucking a game without even knowing what the game is about. It's like, holy fucking shit, bro. The hypocrisy is so fucking toxic. But that's just me kind of talking about it without even, honest to God, going that far into it. Like, I won't talk about how great the gameplay is. I won't talk about how fucking dumb the leaks are without, you know, maybe spoiling the game. I don't know. But, man, it's like, fucking hell. I know I've been kind of running around in circles for, like, almost 30 minutes straight, but fuck, man. That fucking, like, the whole concept of the game being leaked and people, like, not even fact-checking the leaks, by the way, irks me to, like, no end. It's like, wow, great job doing your due diligence, researching any of this shit. But whatever, fine, sure. Anyways, kind of want to move on to something else. The PS5 reveal is going to happen this Thursday. I am very, very excited for the PS5 event. I don't know if they're going to be showing off the new console. I would assume so. I mean, why wouldn't they show off the new console when they showed off the controller? Like, I'm watching, I have a picture of the controller on my computer right now. It's there. We know what it looks like. Why not release the controller? Why not show off the controller? Or not the controller, the console itself. We've all been, like, everybody's been looking at some of the, what's it called? Some of the images of the dev consoles or whatever. People have been making concept art for this console. I'm excited for this console. I'm excited just for next generation. For the next generation, of consoles in general. It's like, wow, I can't believe just how long this developer, or not this developer, but this console has taken to be revealed and released. When you think about it, this console hasn't necessarily, the PS5, of course, it hasn't had an official, like, event ever. And before everybody starts to say, well, they had an event, I think in February or March, detailing all of, like, the mechanics and the technology and all of the stuff that the consumer does not really care about when it comes to this console. They had that event, but that wasn't even for consumers. I don't know why Sony released it on the internet. Maybe to give fans something because the coronavirus happened, and, you know, and people, and the whole country was on lockdown, and, you know, not even the whole country, but the whole planet was on lockdown. So they were like, well, let's try and release something for our fans. And that didn't necessarily go out very well. But beyond that one event, it's like it's been, again, leaks here and there. And by leaks, I mean like leaked pictures of a dev console, which is, again, going back to, yes, there can be reliable sources and stuff like that. But this console hasn't had an official reveal, and it's going to get one this Thursday. I think the console, at the very least, should be there. The console should be there. Apparently, they're going to talk about some of the games that's going to be there. I think this could be like an hour-long type of an event. I think this could be something that we see for, you know, not see, but that we're going to like watch for an hour plus. I think they're going to talk about some of the games. I don't know if they're going to have games like next generation games to show off. But at the very least, it should be like this event, this reveal, it will be for consumers. Make no mistake about it. It's not like somebody going up and talking for an hour plus about the console. It's going to be not talking about the console, excuse me, talking about the console to developers. It's going to be more consumer friendly. It's going to be for gamers. It's not going to be for developers, right? So they'll get up there, they'll probably show off the console, they'll probably show off what the console is going to do. Maybe we get some prices for it. Apparently there's going to be a base console on launch, and then like the high definition, the PS5 double plus X, whatever it's going to be called. That's going to be also at the show, maybe. But I do know that there's going to be 2 PS5s upon release. Backwards compatibility should also be something that they should talk about as well, because for almost a year, maybe to 2 years, it's been constantly speculated, because apparently Sony has patented certain technology that would allow the PS5 to be backwards compatible with the PS1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's already been confirmed that the most popular games, I think, on the PS4 are going to be on the PS5. The long and the short of it is, it will have backwards compatibility. To what extent, I don't really know. And I think Sony may reveal it on Friday. Or on Thursday, technically. I'll also have a video on Friday. Maybe even I'll get on the podcast and I'll be talking about exactly what the backwards compatibility for the PS4 can be. Maybe not the backwards compatibility, but I'll be kind of just broadcasting, maybe not broadcasting, but I'll be talking about the live show live on the podcast on Thursday. We'll see. But I think they're going to reveal some gameplay aspects, the performance, the new, whatever it's going to be called, the new next gen, maybe not the new next gen, but like the new, the PS5 Plus, I think they're going to reveal that. Obviously, they're going to reveal the PS5 games, backwards compatibility. I think also, by the way, this is kind of a shot in the dark, and I don't like taking a lot of shots in the dark. I like to take, I like to hit singles, not like swing for the fences. I like to hit singles, maybe doubles. But I'm going to try and swing. I'm going to try and hit a home run here. I think that maybe we'll see some stuff about Cyberpunk 2077. Maybe. Probably not. But maybe. Like, for some weird reason, CD Projekt Red has not partnered with Sony for anything. And apparently, what's been rumored, and I haven't read too much about this, but what has been rumored was, apparently the graphical downgrade for The Witcher 3 was because of Sony and like the PS4, which is a real head scratcher to me, because the PS4 at the time was more powerful than the Xbox One, because the Witcher 3 came out in 2015, so like I think certain games were better optimized for that console, and the console was a little bit more powerful than the Xbox One. I don't know. But it's interesting that like CD Projekt Red will go up with Microsoft, but they won't go up with Sony. Maybe it's because Sony has exclusives. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on Thursday. At this point, I'm just speculating. I'm not really like, I don't have anything concrete or nailed down. It's just like some of this stuff to me is like, oh yeah, they should have, the base console. They should have, the PS5 Plus there, release date. prices, performance, stuff like that on Thursday. We'll see. Final thing that I'll talk about, and I'll briefly touch on this. Cyberpunk 2077. I did not talk about this at all on the channel because when Cyberpunk gets delayed, when anything for Cyberpunk gets delayed, it's like it's breaking news. Cyberpunk, the Night City Wire got delayed from Thursday of this week to Thursday in 2 weeks. Why did it get delayed? Obviously, because of the George Floyd protests and, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. So, yes, they did a good job. But why? Like, my question is, why 2 weeks? Why? I'm like, wait, what? Like Sony delayed the PS5 reveal indefinitely, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna delay it indefinitely. But, like, I think it was today they were like, oh yeah, you know, like, we can insert ourselves in on Thursday and be fine. It's like, why 2 weeks? But that's what they're planning on doing. They're planning on just doing it in 2 weeks. That is the Night City Wire in 2 weeks. I have waited like 3 months I've waited literally since January, since this game got delayed, for anything for this video game. I'm very, very frustrated right now. I don't know if you can tell. Very, very frustrated. Especially because I have a sinking feeling that that developer, CD Projekt Red, is going to release some of, like, I feel like they haven't showed off anything significant in almost 2 years. 2 years! I know they had the quote-unquote deep dive, which to me isn't a deep dive because you had an hours-long video and you cut it to 30 minutes. You showed it off behind the scenes. I saw that 30-minute gameplay demo. It was like 26 minutes. The leaked gameplay, I saw that. But then I also saw the quote-unquote deep dive that the public got revealed, and I was like, they cut pretty much an hour's worth of gameplay in a halves, and then not into halves, excuse me, into a half, then into a quarter. I was like, what? I wanted to see an hour plus of gameplay. Did I get an hour plus of gameplay? No, I did not in 2019. I was very disappointed. I wanted an hour plus of gameplay. I wanted it badly. Did I get it? Hell no. Will I get it this year? I hope so. I made a video talking about it on Monday. Talking about how, essentially, I feel that CD Projekt Red is going to have another 2018 gameplay demo this year. What exactly does that mean? Well, I think that CD Projekt Red is going to reveal, not even reveal, but it's going to take you, not even, I'm trying to think of the right word or phrase. I think it's going to be representative of the actual gameplay. And what I mean by that is, if you go back to 2014 and you watch not the Cyberpunk, the Witcher 3 gameplay, that was like a developer walkthrough. It was like 30 plus minutes of gameplay. And they were just like, here you go. Like, we're just going to release this. We're going to delay the game for a year because I think the gameplay came out in April of 2014. Not Cyberpunk. The Witcher 3 came out in May of 2015. I remember because I skipped high school to buy it and then play it because I'm a big nerd. But it seems like that's what they're doing here again. They have kind of developer commentary mixed in with gameplay that's very, very representative of what's going on within the game. And then I looked at some developer interviews. I looked at Mike Pondsmith, the creator of Cyberpunk. Oh my God, I'm really, really tired. I apologize. Of like Cyberpunk not just 2077. Mike Pondsmith was also the creator of Cyberpunk 2020, the tabletop game as well. So he's had his hand in both the tabletop game and in the video game as well. He's been fantastic. And he was talking about a lot of the stuff that was in the game like 2 years ago. Like the press that they did with Cyberpunk 2077 2 years ago far exceeded what they did in 2019. And do you want to freaking know why? Do you want to try and take a shot at why CD Projekt Red was like, we got to splice up an hour's worth of gameplay into not only 30 minutes, but into 15 minutes of gameplay. We're going to release the 30 minutes to the public, or not to the public, but to the press, 15 minutes to the public. Do you want to know? Do you want to try and take a shot at why they did that? Because people can't look at gameplay. People can't analyze gameplay. Not like 24. Not like me. They can't do it. They won't try. They're not very good. They don't spend the time. I went on Reddit. That's how I found the gameplay, the leaked gameplay. I will not be telling you where it is. It's not on Reddit. You can look. I tried to, like, I found it on Reddit, but then it just got taken off very, very quickly. But I won't tell you where you can find it. But when I found it again, and when I looked at the comments under the game, not under the game, but under, like, the video on Reddit, people were talking about how, you know, the game doesn't look very good from year 1 to year 2. It doesn't look very good. I've seen, like, podcasts. I've seen, like, people constantly talk about Cyberpunk 2077, be like, you know what, the first gameplay trailer didn't impress me. The second gameplay trailer impressed me. Or not trailer, but the gameplay demo impressed me. And then they flipped it. Some people were like, oh yeah, I love the first one, but the second one sucked. And we're talking about gameplay demos, by the way. So it's like people don't even know how to, like, analyze the game. The game looks exactly the same, by the way. If you're someone who watches gameplay and who knows gameplay, game looks exactly the same. The mechanics look exactly the same. The combat looks the same. Everything looks the same. I don't know why people keep on saying, oh yeah, the first one looks different from the second one. They don't. They look highly edited. One looks way more edited than the other, but they don't look different. They look the same, which is a good thing, because I like the gameplay. It would be bad if I was like, oh yeah, I like the 2018 gameplay, but then I just don't like the 2019 gameplay. Like, that just is like, well, I don't like the game then, because it's the exact same gameplay. And that was just like with people within the community, like YouTubers. Like, I was watching the Neon Arcade and a couple of other people, and they were talking about it. And they had a podcast, and they had like a roundtable discussion, and they were talking about how, you know, I don't really like the first gameplay that they showed off in 2018, and then in 2019, the deep dive, I really like that. I was like, same game. Same game. These are with YouTubers, let alone the press and the controversy with, you know, the girl with the big dick, and, you know, it was you know, somebody who was transgendered, and they were like, you know what, that's fucked up. You can't have a girl with a big dick. And people were like, Cyberpunk 27 has gone full social justice warrior, or, you know, they're exploiting the transgendered community. And it was just like, it's a mountain out of a molehill type of situation. It's rage baiting again. It's like, oh, we gotta get mad because of this reason. It's like, let's just not take into account any of the gameplay mechanics. Let's not take into account any of the story. Let's just get angry because there's a girl with a giant salon in a picture in an advertisement that people, by the way, the picture that people were referencing, I think in 2019, was in the gameplay demo in 2018. It's like, did any of you watch the gameplay? She was in there. Twice. In 2019 and in 2018. It's just, it's a weird event, man. I get it. People love to get angry today or nowadays. Like, everybody's got to get angry. Everybody's now got to get, like, super fucking frustrated and all this other horse shit. Like, it's ridiculous to me. But at the same token, it happens consistently without the industry. Like with The Last of Us Part 2, with Cyberpunk 2077. It's like, no developer is safe. For like a day, not even for like a day. I had to come out and defend Cyberpunk 2077 and say, like, that's fucking dumb. That people are talking about this game and the girl with the big dick. It's ridiculous that people were talking about The Last of Us Part 2. It's ridiculous. I'll let the games speak for themselves. I'll let Cyberpunk 2077 speak for itself. I will have a reveal kind of party thing on Thursday, I guess. Maybe not on Thursday, but yeah, I mean, I guess on Thursday. Maybe not a reveal party. But I'll pretty much record a podcast. I'll report. I'll like play the sound and I'll go over like the actual live event on the podcast. I won't do a video about it. I'll also do a video about it, but I'll also have a podcast about it. I'm very, very new to this, so I apologize if I'm a little bit shaken up. But where is my outro music? Hold on. Not even my outro music. Is there anything I gotta talk about and address before I go? I don't think so. I think it's like this. Hold on. Before I just stop, and I was kind of delaying to try and find this, but I think the long and the short of it is with the industry today is everybody tries to find a reason to be mad with things. For me personally, I find that I find that if you're going to be mad at video games, if you're going to if everybody gets mad, and this is a layup, but like everybody does not like EA. Most people don't like Ubisoft. I'm not a huge fan of Ubisoft. Why am I not a huge fan of those games? Because they have the majority of the money within the industry and they produce the majority of mediocre content. Or they produce a lot of mediocre content. Again, I'm tired. I need to take a nap. But those two developers, they have tons of money and they don't make a lot of great video games. And even their great video games like Star Wars, The Jedi, The Fallen Order, like, it was buggy and it was unfinished. It wasn't polished. Like, I feel like if this game had like another 3 to 4 months, it would have been way better. But they timed it, obviously, with the release of the new Star Wars movie. What was it? The Rise of Skywalker, right? They timed it with that, so that way they could sell more money, or they could sell Star Wars or whatever. There you go. But even when that game was I still had a lot of fun with it. That was my game of the year last year. Star Wars, The Jedi, The Fallen Order. But with that game, even though it was great, even though it was one of the best games of the year, it was still unfinished. It still wasn't polished. That was easily EA's best game in the last couple of years, right? It's like, yes, you can be mad at some of those games. You can be mad at certain developers and publishers when they give you reasons to be mad at them for, I guess. But when you're just trying to like get angry and get raged, not raged, excuse me, but like rage baited, and you know, it's just like stuff just doesn't seem right, and it's like you don't care because you just want to be angry. Like that just seems like a waste of energy to me. But I'm not the people making videos about, you know, the leaks that aren't real. I'm just a person who just likes to play video games and likes to have fun. Not trying to kill the vibes. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been 24's Podcast, the best video gaming and sports podcast on the entire internet. You can find this podcast once again on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, and RadioPublic. Pretty much where you can find any podcast, you can find 24's Podcast. Excuse me. I think tomorrow I'm going to be coming out with another video. I don't know when I'm going to release this podcast. Probably by Thursday, just so I can have it up, stuff like that, just so I can make sure that, you know, people see it. But ladies and gentlemen, until my next video, until my next podcast, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.